What's going on there, Dice Rollers? Paul here, and I'll be your DM for a while. And today I want to talk to you about the top 15 scariest monsters from the first edition Fiend Folio for D&D. And if you have not watched it yet, there is a video, and I'll put it right up at the top there, where you can actually see the top 10 scariest monsters from the first edition Monster Manual. Now, you may be wondering how I defined scariest, and scariest can mean the way it looks, it can mean the abilities that it has, it could be the way it walks. There's various conditions that I have for what I think is scariest, and it might differ from you, and you're welcome to go ahead and share your opinions down below. That if I did not include your scariest monster that you think exists in the Fiend Folio, well, leave a comment down below. First on the list is the Comet. It resembles a large leopard with 4 to 7 snakes sprouting from its shoulders. And it has some relation to the Displacer Beast. And if the mere sight of it does not terrify you, it has 3 attacks in melee. It bites for 1 to 6 points of damage, 2 claws for 1 to 3 hit points of damage, and each of the snakes also bite for 1 to 4 points of damage, though the snake bites are not poisonous. Well, thank goodness the snakes aren't poisonous, because that could cause some real problems, I guess, after the 7 attacks that this thing gets. Next up is the Loock. And the Loock are these 2-foot tall, covered in black, shaggy fur little creatures whose horrid appearance will cause fear in any person with 4 or fewer hit dice who sees them. This causing the victim to fall inert to the ground for 5 to 8 melee rounds. If that isn't enough, the Looks employ psychological warfare. The Lock will mark an adventurer, preferably a paladin, and from the time of his marking onwards, the chosen victim will receive disturbing telepathic messages. The Locks can communicate telepathically over a 300-foot range. The message will vary in content, but the threat will be the same, that they intend to make that character one of them. Number 3 is the Lava Children. These humanoids are approximately the same size as a broadly built man. However, they have a curious, childlike appearance with pinkish white skin and a permanent smile on their face. Yeah, that's not disconcerting at all that you have small children basically smiling at you, trying to attack you and kill you. They are particularly immune to metal. Metal simply does not exist for lava children. Thus, any metal object can pass through them without harming them, and they can move through metal without hindrance. Any metal worn by a victim of their attack is ignored for the purposes of computing armor class. Number 4 is the Eye Killer. The Eye Killer is basically part bat, part snake. Sure, that's completely normal. Nobody would freak out about that. The Eye Killer will attack with its coils only, crushing its victims for 1 to 6 points of damage, and 1 to 6 points thereafter as long as the creature is grappled. If an approaching party is carrying lanterns or torches, however, the Eye Killer can use the dreaded death stare up to a range of 50 feet. Its eyes gather to the illumination falling on them, amplifying it enormously, and project it back at the light bearer in a powerful, narrow ray of intense light. This ray strikes a victim as though he were at armor class 10. The victim must make his saving throw against death ray or die instantly. Fortunately for adventurers, the death stare can only be used once per day. Number 5, the Alic. The Alic is a physical manifestation of the vengeance of certain gods, and are sent to punish and redeem those who stray from their alignment, or fail to sacrifice enough treasure, or otherwise anger their god. An Alic will never be met by chance. An Alic appears in human form and will closely resemble his intended victim. To an observer, the victim appears to be in conflict with a totally invisible, totally invulnerable being. To the victim, the Alic will be, in all respects, except as indicated elsewhere, his own exact duplicate. So in essence, you are in a battle with yourself that nobody else can see. The Alic regenerates after being first wounded. The round after the wound is taken, it regenerates 1 hit points. To the next round, then 2 hit points, then 4 hit points, then 8 hit points, and so on, until it is killed. So it gets stronger while you get weaker. And the kicker is, if you are killed by an LAX, you lose all your treasure, even if it's cached somewhere, and half your experience points are gone. You are then automatically raised and may then begin life again at the appropriate experience level. All your magic items lose their magical properties, scrolls become blank, potions become inert, and so on. No resurrection is necessary, and the character will not receive a further visitation from the Aliax, providing he or she remains true to his god afterwards. Number 6. The Son of Caius. Truly horrible creatures in appearance, these ghastly undead appear as animated putrid corpses with fat green worms crawling in and out of their skulls and orifices. Caius was an evil high priest, creating the first of these creatures under instruction from an evil deity. Since then, the sons have increased considerably in number. Each sun is surrounded by a spherical zone of fear 30 feet in diameter. A victim who fails to save against magic when entering the zone will flee in terror. Each sun also regenerates 2 hit points per round. Its limbs will regenerate even if severed, like those of a troll. Even after death, this process will continue, so the only way of destroying these creatures is by fire, lightning, acid, or the application of holy water to their wounds. The suns attack with a double-handed flailing of fists, causing 1 to 8 hit points of damage. Each successful hit has a 25% chance of inflicting advanced leprosy on the victim. In addition, 1 worm per melee round will jump from a sun's head to an adjacent character in melee with a sun. It needs the normal to hit roll to land on the victim and will burrow into him, taking 1 melee round to penetrate the skin, during which time it may be destroyed by the touch of cold steel, holy water, or blessed object. If it is not destroyed, the worm heads for the victim's brain, taking 1 to 4 melee rounds to reach it. If the worm reaches the brain, the victim becomes a son of Caius, the process of putrefaction setting in without further delay. Oh yeah, nothing terrifying about that. Nothing terrifying about a worm crawling into your skin, getting into your brain, and turning it into a son of Caius, and you start to simply just deteriorate there. Number 7, the Necrophidius. This creature appears to be the skeleton of a giant snake with a fanged human skull as a head. I would just say nope to that and turn around and run away. The Necrophidius achieves surprise 50% of the time, and it is not itself surprised. It will execute the Dance of Death, a hypnotic semi-magical swaying which rivets the attention of any victim observing the worm who fails to make his saving throw against magic. Failure means inability to act, treat as hypnotism. This allows the worm to advance and attack without opposition. See, it's the Dance of Death that gets me, that this crazy, horrific creature is just dancing in front of me and I can be paralyzed. And because it's used as an assassin or a guard, this thing is just an hors d'oeuvre to the main course. Hey, are you still here? Have you not run away in terror yet? Well, hey, listen, thank you so much for watching this far, and if you've not subscribed yet to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button and you'll get videos like this in your inbox on a regular basis. Now back to more terrifying creatures from the Fiend Folio. Number 8, the Berbalang. The Berbalang is a solitary biped with leathery skin and bat-like wings. Its eyes are white and watery, and its powers of infravision are twice as effective as elves. The creature spends the greater part of each month in an apparently dormant state, hibernating preferably in a well-hidden cave. Though seemingly comatose, the Berbalang is actually roaming the astral plane, where it spends its time hunting and killing creatures weaker than itself and engaging in bizarre and complex courtship and mating rituals with other Berbalangs. And you thought walking in on your parents having sex was going to be an issue. Go ahead, walk in on a couple of Berbalangs. See if that doesn't fry your brain. So basically, the Berbalang hangs around while its astral body hunts for weaker prey, and when they find that prey and kill it, the astral projection will fly it back to its body at full rate, which will immediately emerge from its trance, While in flight, the projection will be feeding on the body. A fully grown human can thus be devoured in one turn, leaving only the bones, garments, and equipment. Number 9, the Zill. The Zill are bipedal, flame-red creatures with short, powerful bodies and 4 arms, all of which can wield weapons simultaneously. The Zill apparently have only one aim in life: to produce young. The creatures are asexual and reproduce by producing eggs, which must gain sustenance prior to hatching in the stomach of a living human or near human. Thus, they will try to snatch victims alive. If the Zill succeeds in grappling a victim, it will then inject a paralyzing fluid into his bloodstream through its claws in the next melee round. Victims grappled thus have one melee round to break free before the fluid is injected. If this is achieved, it will attempt to become ethereal and will extend it to its paralyzed, subdued victim and carry the victim to its lair on the ethereal plane to inject the eggs. The Zill eggs hatch after 1 to 4 days in the victim's stomach. For the next 2 to 8 days, the larvae collectively inflict 11 to 20 hit points of damage on the victim per day as they mature, and then they emerge from the victim, killing him instantly. As 2 to 16 small Zill, which grow rapidly, and if you're watching this near bedtime, I am terribly sorry. Number 10, the Hooka. The Hooka is an undead spirit similar in appearance to a robed skeleton, which is treated as a white on the cleric undead matrix. It is resistant to all mind-influencing spells. It is able to polymorph self 3 times a day. How would you like this thing just kind of following along with your party, or being an NPC, or just roaming around and doesn't speak? Or worse, one of your party is paired up with this Hooka and it decides to go ahead and reveal itself. The touch of a Hooka inflicts 1 to 6 points of damage, and unless the victim makes his saving throw against poison, he will be infected with an acute cardiovascular renal disease. I think that has something to do with your blood, but I'm not looking it up on the internet because I don't want to start getting messages about any medications. So just ask yourself, when was the last time you used acute cardiovascular renal disease in one of your games? Feel free to leave a comment below. Number 11, the Edercap. A biped, roughly man-sized, with very long arms, protruding pot belly, short legs, and hairy skin, the Edercap has clawed hands and 2 poison fangs protruding, 1 on each side of the mouth. Edercaps are cruel, cunning, and treacherous. The Edercap attacks with its claws for 1 to 3 points of damage, and also inflicts a poisonous bite for 1 to 8 points of damage. The creature, hear this now, the creature has silk glands like those of a spider located near the anus. These glands secrete a thin, very tough, silvery cord, which the beast uses to make assorted weapons and devices, lariats, nets, garrots, tripwires, and so forth. Each Edercap has its preferred weapon and trap devices, so an encounter will vary according to an Edercap's preference, though they will always try to lay traps and prepare an ambush if there is no time to do so. Now, as a DM, just think about saying this. The Edercap turns its back to you, bends over, and shoots webs at you. Terrifying. Number 12, the Crypt Thing. A pale, solitary skeletal being which always wears a brown, hooded robe. The Crypt Thing stays in its lair permanently and will not attack if it is left undisturbed. Its special power is its unfailing ability to cast an improved form of teleportation spell on a party, once per party encountered. Those who fail to make their saving throws are instantly teleported according to a percentile roll on the table below. A party member that fails could be teleported anywhere from 100 to 1,000 feet in any direction, a level up, a level down, north, south, east, or west. And that's what makes this scary. If you are teleported anywhere in a castle, or where there are traps, or where there are other monsters, that you can be teleported to somewhere by yourself, and that's a problem. Number 13, the Penangalan. The Penangalan is basically a head with guts coming out of it, and it pretends to be a part of your party, and when all the party goes to sleep, it assumes its undead form. Its head and internal organs detach themselves from the body, rising vertically from the abdomen, and fly in search of human prey to feast on their living blood. Any unfortunate witness of the scene when the Penangalan head and gut detach from the body must make his saving throw against magic or die immediately. Should a Penangalan kill a male victim, he remains lifeless, and if an attempt is made to raise him, his chances of surviving the system shock will be half normal. If the attempt fails, no further attempts can possibly succeed. If it kills a female victim, she will rise from the grave 3 days as a Penangalan, not under the control of the original creature. And here's the kicker. When detached from the body, the internal organs constantly drip a highly volatile and foul mixture of blood and digestive juices, which causes 1 to 4 hit points of damage on bare flesh. This horrid liquid evaporates after 1 round in contact with the air. So not only do you have to fight the head, you have to fight the digestive juices as well. Number 14, the Eye of Fear and Flame. The Eye of Fear and Flame is a hooded, man-sized figure. The face is always invisible, the interior of the hood being seen as an opaque black screen. It constantly stalks the underworld, seeking lawful or lawful neutral parties or individuals. It will command an individual or a member of a party to perform evil deeds. The nature of the deeds will vary, but they will be uniformly evil. If the eye is attacked or its commands are not obeyed, it will cast back the hood to reveal a bare skull with a red jewel in one eye socket and a black jewel in the other. The red gem unleashes a 12-dice fireball once every 3 melee rounds, while the black gem acts as a fear wand every melee round. The gems are worth 1,000 to 2,000 gold pieces each, though they lose their properties when they are removed from the skull or when the creature is killed. So yeah, fear and fireballs. Who doesn't want that? And last but not least, number 15, the Death Knight. The Death Knight, and there are only 12 of these dreadful creatures known to exist, is a horrifying form of lich created by a demon prince, it is thought a demigorgon, from a fallen human paladin. The Death Knight itself cannot be turned or dispelled, though it is affected by Holy Word. It has the power over undead equivalent to that of a 6th level cleric. The Death Knight wears light armor and will usually be riding a nightmare, one of which can be summoned to serve a Death Knight every 10 years. The beast will serve a Death Knight as a paladin horse serves a paladin. The fearsome power of the Death Knight derived largely from its use of magic. It continually generates fear in a 5-foot radius, can create a wall of ice at will, and has innate powers of detect magic and detect invisibility. Twice a day, it can dispel magic and gate in a demon type. Once per day, a Death Knight can use any one of the power word spells, a symbol of pain, fear, and generate a 20-dice fireball. Yep, nothing to fear here, just bag 'em and tag 'em. Well, hey, listen, I hope that you enjoyed this video of my 15 scariest monsters from the Fiend Folio 1st edition D&D. And if you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you did, I hope that you will leave it a thumbs up, and I hope you have a happy Halloween.